Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
Bird Gang, congratulations. You made it. Football's back. Week 1 is really over now. And the Cardinals have a win. 1-0. 20-13 over the Saints. How about that? Welcome back into another edition of Cardinals Corner. I'm Tyler Drake and the always lovely Lauren Koval. I got to start giving you some credit because you always give me the credit. So
it's well deserved.
There you go. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It wouldn't be the Arizona Cardinals if they didn't give me an absolute heart attack week 1 of the season.
Cardiac Cardinals.
Yeah, you don't get that nickname for fun.
Exactly. Overreaction week 1. Feel like those kind of go hand in hand. So before we dive into the things that were kind of concerning today, let's start with the good stuff. The very good stuff. Beginning with Will Johnson.
Yeah.
Because I think that was about the best stuff on the field today.
And it would have been cemented by the fact on that stat line, if Max Melton hadn't gotten a penalty, we would have seen Will Johnson get his first interception.
Iffy penalty.
It was an iffy penalty. But
let him play.
The entire game, though, it was penalties galore. I mean, the Saints had double-digit penalties, and the Cardinals were approaching it. I mean, I believe that the Saints had 89 to 90 yards of penalties alone.
13 penalties, 89 yards.
Exactly. There we go. And the
Cardinals, 954.
I was going to say, they weren't far behind. No. It was a messy game in the way of week 1 sort of in officiating. It's like, okay, we got to set the tone for the NFL. We've got to get this out of the way. So anything that's a little bit chippy, we're going to call it. And that was the perfect example of that play.
Yeah, exactly. So gets flagged, has the interception in the end zone, given the old thumbs down, gets called back. But hey, still, Will Johnson kept it together, had 3 passes defense that led the team and really was all over the field. And yes, he didn't have the interception as a highlight reel, but he did have a massive, massive hit on Chris Olave that actually took him out of the game for a little bit on a bubble screen. And that is one of those moments of he listened to Budda Baker when he's sitting next to him in the meeting room, because that's one of those Budda Baker type missile hits. I
mean, that was the highlight of the end of the week press conferences, was Budda going, yep, Will, you're sitting right here, right next to me. And that Will came back the next week and sat right next to Budda. And now that's just the expectation.
All year?
It's kind of like those unassigned assigned seats you had in high school, where it's like you go to your lunch table and you're like, okay, that's my seat.
Yep.
We're not saying it, but we all know it. And that was the same phenomenon with Will and Budda this week, because you saw some of those just absolutely tenacity-filled plays where it's just, I'm going to, lower my shoulder into you and take you out.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And highlighted by sort of mentor plays is the end of the game play there, with Budda going high, Jalen Thompson going low, which would have been an incredible grab and honestly a great pass from Spencer Rattler at the end there. But watching Budda do that, you're like, oh, right. That's why I don't worry about him ever.
Yeah, that was the MVPs of today on the defensive side. I think we just named 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might be the 2 top guys. Baron Browning I'd throw in there too, because he was about the only guy really getting consistent pressure on the passer.
And Max was locked down on the field. Besides the fact that he had that penalty, he was pretty locked down, because we talked about him as being one of the guys that we wanted to see this week sort of step up into that leadership role. I still think that's Mac Wilson. Like out there on the field, when you're watching him, you're just like, oh, this guy's in control. Like, he is a loud mouth, lets you know how you're doing all the time kind of player. But besides the penalty against Max, him on the outside, I felt like he did a pretty good job today.
And I thought for what the team went into having cornerback wise, because they had not 1, but 2 healthy inactives.
Yep.
Elijah Jones, Keitrell Clark. So that cornerback's depth was just already thin entering the game. So good to see them just all get out of there healthy. Joey Blunt, concussion. Cody Simon, friend of the show, concussion. Have to see what's going on with them. They collided on a kickoff. Rough. Hopefully we'll know more on that. But yeah, I think that's really Will Johnson set the tone defensively. Budda Baker was right there with them. And then you look on the offensive side, and I think we've got to start there because we've talked about him all offseason, all training camp, all preseason. Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, that is not what we saw last year.
No.
This time last year, oh man. This time this year, yes, man.
Yes. And finally, it sort of felt like on that 45-yard grab he had from Kyler there, the first thing that stood out to me was, wow, they're throwing a deep ball.
And you knew they were going the whole time. You can just tell the whole time that's what they wanted to do.
Kyler is broadcasting it. Actually, it happens the play before. Kyler is staring down Marvin Harrison Jr. on the play before, and he can't get the ball to him. Like he's just guarded too intensely. So he turns to the other side of the field, and they pick up just a few yards on the play beforehand. Then by the time he wants to pass it to Marvin, he's absolutely telegraphing that thing. Kyler does not go through his reads. He does not look anywhere else. Boom. He's just like, I know where you are, and I'm just waiting until you get to where I need you to be. 45 yards down the field. And it also showcased something that we haven't seen from Marvin Harrison Jr. since he was in college, which is his ability to his route running skills in looking for the ball as it comes down to him and figuring out where his path needs to be to beat his defender, get the ball the easiest, make it the best grab for him. His ball tracking ability was incredible on that play. And it made me go, that's why he could be a deep ball threat. And that's why the Arizona Cardinals need to open up their offense more.
Absolutely. So yeah, he paced the team, 5 catches on 6 targets. We'll get to the one that was an incompletion because that was a pretty big one. 71 yards with the touchdown. The long was 45. He averaged 14.2. You've got Trey McBride right behind him with 6 catches for 61. He could have easily had a touchdown in the red zone early. Yeah. If he would have read those blocks a little better, he was in there. I was getting ready to write a story like, oh, he already scored a touchdown. We don't have to wait till the last 2 weeks of the season. We can just get out of the way now. But yeah, I mean, right there, Marvin, it's still stuff to clean up, but that's exactly, I think, the type of performance people wanted to see.
And what you just said, I think, is what people hope the story of the season is that you read off the catch rate for Marvin Harrison Jr. and you read off the catch rate for Trey McBride, and you want them to be right by each other. And that's exactly what this game was. I mean, last season we were saying Trey McBride has 12 catches and Marvin has 3. And we were like, those numbers need to get closer together. Week 1, a great sign that they are. Yeah.
And for Marvin, that is the 4th best yardage of his career. So already seeing it right away. Got to give them a shout out for sure, because they definitely, that was the high point, was everybody wanted to see what Marv was going to do. He showed you right there. And again, stuff to clean up. It's week 1. I think the very beginning of that game was ugly, to say the least.
Oof, yeah.
So we can start turning to that, even though, okay. And yes, Kyler Murray, let's give him.
We got to talk about Kyler, though, because there was some concern this morning because he pops up with an illness out of the blue. And then, nope, I'm starting. I'm still going to quarterback this team, but I'm dealing with something. Yeah. And that was sort of an immediate flag for concern. I didn't necessarily go, Jacoby Brissett's coming in this game. No. But I was worried about, like, what's Kyler's rushing ability going to look like? How many hits can he take? I need the offensive line to stand up.
New Orleans.
How do I avoid that place moving forward? Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah. So struggles at the gate. Figures it out, though, like we said, with the Marvin connection, 71 yards, touchdown there. He was 21 of 29, 72.4% completion, 2 touchdowns, also ran the rock 7 times for 38 yards. And it just was a mixed bag for me. Yeah. Because let's just get to it.
Yeah, go for it.
The one incompletion. That was the sealer. I mean, you do not give the Saints a chance to even come back or think that they can come back in this game if you hit Marvin Harrison in the 4th quarter when you had him wide open in one of the best pockets you've had all day. You have got to make that. I mean, it was either a touchdown or at least halfway down the field for another first.
Oh, easy.
And chewing up more clock. You have to, 5 connections, 71 yards and a touchdown is great. But when you play a team that's not the Saints, who should be the first overall pick this year, you're not going to win 20-13. You're going to lose by more than 7 points.
And I think the Dolphins are in competition for the Saints after today's performance for that number one pick.
You might be right.
But that being said, I think your overarching point is exactly right. Because you're lucky you played the Saints this week.
Yeah.
You're lucky you played a team that is just as confused, more confused than you are on what you're doing on the field. And watching that happen in real time was like, okay, can the Cardinals play better than their opponent? Which felt like what we talked about a lot of last year is the Cardinals' ability to match that higher talent. They played the Bills really close. They played the Eagles close those years back. Now we're looking at, okay, why are we stooping down in the Saints level in that entire first half? And the Saints also showed, Spencer Rattler especially, showed a progression at least throughout the game that made me go, well, he's trying to win the game.
Yeah.
He's getting more completions done. That game is tied and it goes to overtime if that wide receiver can come down with the ball in the end zone there.
Yep.
And Spencer Rattler has never won an NFL game he started.
Yeah. And that would have been rough to continue the losing streak in week 1 for the Cardinals if you had to do it against the Saints.
Yeah, somebody had to do it because the Saints have won 6 straight home openers. So someone had to bust, and you'd hoped it would have been the Saints.
Yeah. So, okay, the play, 1st and 13, Arizona on the 3rd-yard line, wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Again, maybe not a touchdown, but with beginning of the 4th quarter, you're up by 10. You're basically putting that game out of reach.
You're trying to. At worst, you're getting another 3 points. Mm-hmm.
Let's go that way. Best case scenario.
Okay.
So it's just, that's the stuff where you can make some really great catches, some great contested catches. That 45-yard bomb was incredible. That shows you that their connection has taken that jump that we've all seen happen in front of us at training camp preseason. But you've got to connect on the easy ones, the fundamental. That was a fundamental throw there.
And the one where your wide receiver is the most talented guy in that showdown with your DB, with your safety, with your corner. Because you're looking around. Marvin Harrison Jr. is more athletic and physically gifted than about 90% of the other wide receivers
Especially
out there
now.
in the league. And you're going up against the Saints, who that's been a point of concern for them this entire game up until that completion or attempt for the completion. And you have him. He's right there.
Right there.
And it's almost like it's too easy.
And exactly. It's yes. You know how many little putts?
Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
A little break to the left. You see it the whole way. You look up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You yank it.
And you go, God, I hope that doesn't cost us.
Yes.
You know, it's similar to me watching the Arizona State football game last night. I look up and I go, oh, you run exactly the same thing 3 times in a row at basically the 1 yard line. And you don't punch it in and you kick a field goal. And you look up and you go, I hope that doesn't come back to haunt us, because there's a lot of time left. And this team has been looking better. They've been trending better this entire game. And unlike ASU last night, the Cardinals didn't come back to bite them in the end.
Yeah.
But we were damn close.
Oh, yes, we were. Yes, we were. And I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, no. I mean, can you imagine if it was a pair of losses?
No.
And coming into the week?
No.
It would be warranted for Arizona sports fans to be heated.
I hadn't even let that thought cross my mind because I was just like...
I did after the first series today.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, because it just felt like this is so your game for the taking.
Yeah.
And this...
Too much of your game for the taking.
Yeah, and history says you don't play well in the Superdome. Okay. Well, history says you don't play the Carolina Panthers very well either, and you got them next week.
I was just about to say that. Oh, that's so funny. I literally am going to say word for word what you just said. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the 2 most winnable games probably on the schedule.
Yeah.
You got to get them done. And this was a winnable game, and yes, it was won, but it wasn't won in the winnable fashion that I expected it to be.
No, but...
we talked about 30-10. We talked about having a good pass rush, too.
And that didn't show
before we
up.
get there,
I was going to say.
Trey Benson, real quick.
Yes.
We need to give Trey Benson a shout out.
You're right.
8 carries, 69 yards. Yes, 52 yards on 1 carry. But I think that showed you his year 2 jump is not just talk. And all of the chat, he got brought up again out of nowhere last week during practice of just this guy is going to go. And that was a example of him going. And
I had a hard time swallowing that pill, honestly, when JG got up to the podium about a month ago and said, yeah, I think that Trey Benson and James Conner will, without giving full-blown percentages, made it seem like it's almost going to be a 60-40 split. James Conner 60, Trey Benson 40. And I went, really? After what we saw last year, I mean, like, that's what I want. Yeah. And that's why you brought him in. And that's why you drafted the guy. But I don't understand how we're going to pivot our offense so dramatically that that's going to be the switch that happened. And then I watched it happen and I went.
Slides in that 3rd down roll.
Okay. And that run that he broke.
That's that home run ability.
Yeah, but it felt like it was like an eye-opening experience because it was the first time that you'd actually seen that happen. I mean, we'd seen it during training camp, just like turn on the jets and break one. Okay, but that's different. Like everybody on the field knows what you're calling and what you're trying to do. Yeah. Watching it in an actual NFL game made me go, that 60-40 might be real.
And here's the split. Conner with 12 carries, 39 yards. A little bit of a pedestrian day for Conner. 3.3 yards. He did catch touchdowns, so shout out to that. Trey Benson, 8 carries, 69 yards. So a little bit more of an even split than I think a lot of people expected.
And I'm fine with that.
And and especially when you see, because here's the other thing too. James Conner got a little more run in the passing game. Only had 5 yards, but he had the touchdown. He had 4 catches. Benson had 1 catch for 6 yards. So still getting Conner his touches, but still spelling him enough to where they're not just running him ragged early on. So loved the snap split there. And like you said, if it's going to work, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Have that 2-headed monster like we see in Detroit and see other places. All right. Pass rush time. Baron Browning having the only sack of the day was not on my bingo card today.
No, because we've talked about, I mean, when you joined Burns and Gambo this week, they asked you, do you take Josh Sweat or the field for Arizona Cardinals sack leaders?
And I took old Sweaty J.
Yeah, I mean, it's always...
It's 1 week.
It's 1 week. It's also always the battle of taking the field makes a lot more sense because there's more guys there, but also you brought Josh Sweat in to do exactly this.
Yes.
He's a Super Bowl champion. He has a connection to Jonathan Gannon. You know what he can do because you watched him do it against Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Okay?
And you didn't get 1 sack on Spencer Rattler?
Exactly.
On an O-line that I'm not writing home about.
An O-line that's made up of, and this entire Saints team is also made up of the same thing, which is a bunch of really young guys who are still trying to figure it out, and a bunch of really old guys whose names occasionally pop up on the screen and you're like, he's still in the league?
Yes.
He still plays?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And that's basically that entire Saints team. And so the idea that nobody else can apply a little bit of pressure is concerning, but it's week 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Baron Browning, 1 sack, QB hit. Josh Sweat, the only person that logged a QB hit. It's just that right there. And then when you look at tackles for loss, Baron Browning 1, Budda Baker 1, Mac Wilson 1.
I'll be interested when you go up against a more talented offensive line than that of the Saints. Like the Panthers are a step down. What I saw the Panthers do today, that offensive line gives Bryce Young, 0.5 seconds to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, the Niners, there you go. There you go.
Well, and I think also too, I think we have to give the Saints a little bit of credit because they clearly were, I think, looking at more pressure coming their way. Because post-game, I think Spencer Rattler even said, it was a shell fest. It wasn't, we expected more pressure. They didn't do that. So I think it was very much keep the ball in front of you and let them get those quick slants, quick outs, whatever you want to do, because you're keeping in front of you, no explosives, no over the top. That's one thing Gannon talked about post-game was Will Johnson did good about not letting it get over his head. So that side of it, I could kind of see the lesser sack totals, but you still got to go out there and eat.
Yeah, and they weren't capable of doing that today. I mean, whether or not that was the absolute game plan for them was to sort of attack Spencer Rattler and apply enough pressure. I'm not sure that they needed to do that today because he's still a young guy in the league who is figuring himself out with this team. We weren't even sure he was going to be the starter a month and a half ago. And now that he is, it's all about that movement and finding those pieces right now for the Saints. Spencer Rattler did show some things today towards the end of that game where I went, yeah, he could figure this out in the NFL. I'm glad it wasn't against the Cardinals, and I'm also glad it was week 1.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so when we look at concerns, is it the open Kyler miss? Is it the pass rush / revamped D-line, or other?
Other right now.
What is the other?
Other is penalties.
Okay.
Other is just cleaning up the game, because shooting yourself in the foot against a better team with some of the clumsy penalties that were called today, these weren't like pass interference, roughing the passer style calls. Yep. These were like, you jumped off sides, you hit a guy in the helmet. Like, watch what you're doing. And that's all the week 1 sort of, troubles and trials that you're going to come up with and trying to figure that out. I just hope that's the kind of thing that JG and this team pride themselves on not doing.
Yeah.
Is not shooting ourselves in the foot, not having stupid penalties, not trying to dig ourselves a grave before we've had the opportunity to figure it all out.
Yes.
And so that's week 2. You're heading in to face the Panthers, a team that you should be able to play pretty clean against.
Should.
You're also playing at home. There's a level of comfort there.
Yep.
So that is something
Don't get too comfortable.
I know. And that's something I'm keeping my eye on for week 2. That's my biggest concern.
Mine, I think the ones I've already named, but I think the last one is O-line.
Yeah.
5 sacks. And yes, I get it. Kyler slid on a couple of those, took the sack. 5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
No Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
That is still something to talk about. Just needs to be cleaned up. Isaiah Adams got pushed back a couple times. Tip Ryman got pushed back a couple times. Like, there's some stuff that needs to get. Jonah Williams, not his greatest showing.
No.
I mean, it was one of those moments of not only, Evan Brown too. Isaiah, those guys both, Will Hernandez.
Exactly.
The door is a little bit more open for him to come in more immediately than he was probably projected.
And I don't think that, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this. Do you think that once you make the switch, once you bring Will in for one of those guys, whoever it is, any of the 3 you listed off, not Tip, because he's not coming in to play tight end, but any of the other 3.
Yeah.
Once Will comes in, can you pull him and put the guy back in?
I don't know. I with a guy like Isaiah, it might really do something to his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Evan Brown, I think he might be able to take that, but it's who's playing better between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you need somebody that you trust.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're not caring about the other people. You're worrying about winning right now.
Yeah.
And that sounds kind of rough, but you need to put results on the paper now. And you have a starter who's been your starter and was one of your best linemen in the past couple of years. If it was really as bad as it was portrayed at least a couple of plays out there today, you at least think about it. And if Will Hernandez is that much closer to being ready to go, he's going to push that narrative. He's already talked about how he wants to go earn that role back.
Mm-hmm.
This is just more fuel for him.
It was interesting watching the pocket break down on the few plays that Kyler was sacked. That wasn't him sort of running out and trying to make something happen, but genuinely staying in the pocket, waiting until the play developed. I felt like for the first time in a long time looking at this Cardinals O-line, that the actual spacing and gaps between where the players were lined up fighting their men before the sack was a bigger gap than we've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that when you're playing another team, the Ravens come to mind, the Ravens do this a lot, but leaving that sort of spy out there in the middle of the field and waiting. And if your pocket breaks down and there's gaps between your players lining up like that, you're sending them and you're sacking Kyler.
Oh, yeah. So that's just one of the spots. And like we said, Jonah Williams, they have a swing guy that could come in and Kelvin Beachum. Do they want to make that switch right away? Probably not. It's week 1. Overreactions. That's what we literally started the podcast talking about.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where my mind started going today is, okay, there's a replacement potentially there. There's a replacement potentially there. Do you see how things go? Do things you've got to see how it goes a little bit longer. But if the tape really reads what I think a lot of us saw out there, it's not out of the question to think about other options.
No, and we're lucky that out of all these positions that we're talking about, there's actually replacements to be brought in.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we covered a lot there.
Yeah.
Anything else we missed?
Week 1?
Chad Ryland? Outside of the block?
Yeah.
I liked it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fine with that.
Yep. I think he's the guy.
I'm not worried that he isn't.
Amari DeMercado in there with the kick returns too.
Yep.
Not Xavier Weaver. So it was between him and Weaver for me as like, who's going to be the guy? But I think Amari brings a little more added bulk. So
watching Greg Dortch do returns with the new rules in the NFL was interesting.
Yep.
I do think that looking at all the sort of rule changes and different sort of moves they've tried to make the game either shorter, more fun, more enjoyable for the viewer, higher entertainment value. This one seems to be working so far. Week 1. It seems like more guys are genuinely trying to run the ball out and see what they can do.
It's this thing that Jeff Rogers said. I mean, special teams coordinator, assistant head coach. He said that he expected a 70% increase in kick returns this year compared to last year. And I think it could even be higher than that because it's definitely a new wrinkle that I think teams are trying to exploit. And especially after this week when there's all this tape, like Jeff Rogers is probably already going through so much other tape outside of the Cardinals just to see the different techniques people are using. And he's going to start implementing that next week. I guarantee you. So going to be interesting. All right. 20-13 Cardinals want to know. We can have all our complaints and concerns, but a win is a win. It's exactly what they needed to do to start the season. So how can they take that next step? And it starts with Carolina, the Carolina conundrum. And we'll be here to take you through all of it. So be sure to keep it locked on the Arizona Sports app, 987, ArizonaSports.com. Follow the show at AZ Cards Corner. You can follow Lauren at Colville _ Lauren. Follow me at T Drake for Sports, all the social medias. Did I say the show already? AZ Cards Corner?
Well, now you have.
Well, I did it again. So there we go. All right. We'll be back next week and we will see if the Cardinals can knock off some more rust through practice and really put together a cleaner game against Carolina and avoid all of the talk we're going to hear this week about how they can't beat Carolina.
Yeah, truly a revenge game.
Yes, truly a revenge game. We'll see you then.